Welcome! Let me tell you about the acquisition of competences through non-formal learning and how this can help you increase in your employability. But first of all, what is a competence? A competence is the sum of three elements: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. The acquisition of these three is what we call learning. There are several ways to acquire these competences. The most known is formal learning, which corresponds to official learning programs, as in school, high school, or university. In formal learning, the frame is highly limited, with established contents, schedules, tools, and goals. On the opposite side, there is informal learning, which can happen in any possible context. It is more commonly called learning from experience. And finally, non-formal learning consists on creating propitious collaborative environments where the learners can develop their own work. The goals and the magnitude of the learning experience are determined by the student himself. One of the main tools of non-formal learning is taking the learners out of their comfort zone. Each step out of this comfort zone is a possibility to enlarge it. The wider it gets, the wiser we become. Another pillar is group work, as the learning process can take place in any possible direction. Once the environment is settled, the learners have to develop a project. This can be any kind of project, from building a house to making a documentary or taking care of the animals of a farm. So, the European Union established 8 key competences which can be enhanced through youth programs that use non-formal learning. Let's see which these competences are and how they can be improved. First of all, social and civic competence is perhaps the most important one. Being a part of a whole new group demands a huge adaptation effort, as you will need to interact with people with totally different profiles, cultures, and values. This requires a whole lot of attitudes that are indispensable in social and commercial relationships. A group that values cooperation, participation, and fairness will surely be happier and more determined, just as society does. Another key competence is communication in mother tongue. When in a group, oratory skills are needed to discuss over the projects by clearly expressing your ideas and thoughts and not being misinterpreted. It is also important to know the different uses of language depending on the context, as it is not the same to discuss about the project among the group members that to expose it to an audience or to a client. Once you are skilled in this competence, it can be interesting to be able to communicate in a foreign language. In youth programs, it is usual that participants come from all around Europe. Usually, the common language will be English, which is required for most of the jobs that involve communicating with customers and partners. When working both individually and in a group, a vital competence is the sense of initiative. If everyone is passive, then no project can be undertaken. This competence includes risk-taking and experimentation, but also evaluating individual and collective strengths and weaknesses, and establishing realistic goals according to them. To do this, you need to think rationally by acquiring another key competence: math, science, and technology. Math does not only refer to numbers and operations, but to the structured mental process that occurs while working with them. In most youth programs, you will need to calculate times and deal with limited budget, helpful activities to improve rational thinking, long-term predictions, and decision-taking. In the same level, knowing science and technology helps you understanding the world around you, giving you a wider point of view while analyzing circumstances. By putting yourself into the position of having to interact with a new environment, you will come up with new solutions, increasing your perceptive and practical senses. A way to take the best out of it is being skilled in digital competence, or the use of electronic devices and tools, which nowadays is a major employability asset. As an example, without a computer and electronic tools, the school animation would probably look like this. But what ultimately will make your work unique and remarkable is creativity and cultural awareness. When developing a project, you will only be given some general lines, then you will have to figure out what to do and how to do it. The more effort you put on creating new and different stuff, the easier will be to come up with new and brilliant ideas in the future. And last but not least, another key competence is learning to learn. At school, you will only learn a few ways to learn, but an open experience with no specified goals or restrictions can get you to learn while doing, so you can know what gets you to learn and how you did it. what works and what doesn't work. This being an active process will make it easier for you to learn and to be more open to new experiences in the future. So remember, if you want to improve these competences and to make yourself more likely to be hired, don't hesitate in joining a youth program.